Welcome back to Boxwood Avenue. This is your first time here. My name is Chloe McIntosh. I write a blog called Boxwood Avenue where I share everyday tips for simple living, homesteading ideas, and a little bit of life on the ranch. Today I'm joining two of my really good friends. They're both named Sarah. The first Sarah writes a blog called Rocky Hedge Farm, and the other Sarah writes a blog called She Holds Dearly. Today we've teamed up and we've each bought this linen tablecloth, and we're getting creative and coming up with new ways to repurpose it. It's such a good deal. I think it was like 20 bucks from Target, and if you're looking for linen by the yard for everyday things, this is an awesome deal. I have a blog post about how you can shop for linen by the yard, so if you want to check it out, I will put a link in the description. Anyways, so we've gotten together, we're each getting a little bit creative, we're coming up with a new way to use this linen tablecloth. So Sarah from Rocky Hedge Farm, she's making a really cute apron, so you have to go check it out after you're done watching this video. And Sarah from She Holds Dearly, she's turning this into a blanket. She's dyeing it and adding trim, and it is so cute. So go check that out too once you're done watching this video. So today I'm going to teach you guys how to make your own DIY beeswax wrap. If you're anything like me, you love beeswrap. I use this all the time in my kitchen. I wrap my vegetables up in it, I wrap cheese up in it. I'm constantly using this stuff. But it turns out it's really easy to make yourself. So today I'm going to teach you how you can make it at home. Just a little bit of beeswax, some parchment paper, and linen. So let's get started. Like I said, this linen tablecloth is an awesome buy. You might remember it from my Easter tablescape video. I used it then. I bought a couple of them just because it's great for everyday things. So I'm going to make some of these beeswax wraps, and then I'm going to make one of Sarah's aprons too. To start making these beeswax wraps, all you need to do is wash and dry your linen tablecloth. If it's really wrinkly, give it a quick iron. You'll need some beeswax chips. I like these pre-shredded. You can buy beeswax by the block, but then you're gonna have to shred it and it's just a little bit more time consuming. These little chips are awesome. You can use them for candles too. You'll need some sharp scissors. You can also use one of those rolling scissors that you use for quilting or cutting out large pieces of fabric. And then you'll also need some parchment paper. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I'm gonna cut the fabric down into different shapes. You can use rectangles, circles. I guess you could get creative and make a star, but I'm going to make large rectangles and small rectangles because I found that's what I use the most. So I'm going to use a ruler and a pencil to mark off my rectangles. You could freehand it, I just want these to be pretty precise. So I'll make a 12 by 12 inch square to start. You could use pinking shears if you wanted to. The pinking shears would help any fraying, but the wax is going to seal the edges, so you shouldn't have much fraying. I'm going to repeat this process a few times, but I wanted to show you it step by step on my first one. So I've cut a 12 by 12 inch square, and now I'm going to pull out a piece of parchment paper and layer the fabric on top of it. Then I'll sprinkle on some of the beeswax over the top of it. I'll layer another piece of parchment paper on top, and then I'll iron to melt the beeswax into the fabric. It's really that simple. So I've got a piece of parchment paper, my fabric, some beeswax, and I'm going to layer this piece of parchment paper on top and iron. But before you iron, you want to make sure that your steam setting is set to off. You can peel up and check as you go, and you can see if there are little places where the beeswax hasn't reached the fabric. You can add a few more pieces of beeswax and then go back over it with the iron so that all areas and all edges of the fabric have the wax. So once your wax has covered all of the fabric, it takes a little bit of time. You're going to peel back the fabric off of the parchment paper while it's still hot before the fabric sticks to the parchment paper. And now I'm just going to let this dry and it'll start to harden, and we can use it just like any other beeswax wrap you find in stores. Some tips when making your own beeswax wraps. You want to make sure that you have a nice, even, thin layer of wax over the fabric. If you have too much wax, it's going to be bulky and it's not going to act the same as the traditional beeswax wraps. You want it to be thick enough that the fabric is pliable, but you want it to be thin enough so that you can't see that there's a layer of wax. So it's a fine balance. After you make your first one, you'll see what I mean. Making your own beeswax wraps is so easy. It just takes a couple of minutes. It's a no-sew project. All you need are some beeswax pellets and an iron. I wanted to tell you some of the benefits of using beeswax because it's pretty awesome. Beeswax was actually one of the first plastics ever used, and it has natural antibacterial properties. It helps keep things from being contaminated. You can make beeswax wraps out of any fabric. Cotton is also a great idea. If you have an old cotton shirt, you can turn it into a beeswax wrap, and you can even use some of the sleeves, so that way you have sort of a wrap. It would be awesome for a sub sandwich or something like that for lunches. Unlike traditional plastic wrap, these beeswax wraps are biodegradable and reusable. To clean them, all you have to do is run them under lukewarm water and then take a little bit of soap, you know I love Castile soap, and give it a quick scrub down and rinse to get rid of any debris that's built up. But like I said, beeswax is naturally antibacterial, so you shouldn't have any bacteria building up on this. Just avoid using this for meat. If you've just finished making your beeswax wraps and you think that they might feel a little bit stiff, don't worry, you may have added a little bit too thick of wax, but it's not going to ruin your beeswax wraps. To warm up the beeswax wraps, just crinkle them up in your hands. The heat from your hands will melt the wax just enough to make these pliable. This goes for if you're trying to wrap cheese or apples or anything like that and you really want the beeswax to stick, just use the heat from your hands to melt the wax so that it sticks together and holds its shape. Beeswax is really great for so many things. We've made DIY hand salve with it, we've made paw balm with it, we've made candles. You can really use beeswax in so many different homemade products. I'm really excited to use it again for these DIY beeswax wraps. Now you can see just how easy it is to make beeswax wraps at home. I hope that you're inspired to make some for your kitchen. Now that you're done watching this video, I hope that you go check out Rocky Hedge Farm and She Holds Dearly and watch their videos for how they've repurposed this linen tablecloth. And if you haven't visited my blog in a while, I hope that you stop by. It's boxwoodavenue.com. I've got recipes, interior design tips, entertaining ideas, and of course I share life on the ranch too. Thank you so much for watching this video today. If you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to do before you go. I hope you have an awesome day.